A mutation in humans causes a condition called sickle cell anemia.
245 babies are born with sickle cell in the UK each year. Sickle cell is an inherited disease that causes red blood cells to form a crescent shape, which slows or blocks blood flow. This can lead to damaging symptoms, the most common being a crisis, which is a sudden episode of agonizing pain when the sickle blood cells are stuck in blood vessels.
A crisis feels like somebody inside my bones with a hammer banging their way out.
And just keeps going and going and going.
Excruciating pain, almost like you're struggling to breathe.
Somehow, I'm not able to escape it.
I'm Charlotte Gosling, and I'm trying to shed light on the sickle cell blood crisis. I know sickle cell is most common in people with an African or Caribbean family background, but even though I'm Caribbean, I never came in close contact with it. I want to know what it's like living with sickle cell, and if there's more that needs to be done to help. I'm on my way to speak with Miriam, a musical theatre actress who's currently appearing in Hadestown on the West End. Right now, she's on sick leave due to having a crisis a week ago. How are you feeling now?
I'm good. I am getting stronger. Having a crisis that lasts just over a week, nearly 2 weeks, is a lot. I had not been admitted into hospital in 3 years.
3 years?
Yeah, just over, if in fact. So, one, the pain felt a lot worse. Like, you know, when usually you get used to pain, especially when you have sickle cell, it's just your lifestyle, unfortunately. Yeah, so not having had it in so long just felt like, it literally felt like dying. I was like, wow, this is what I used to endure constantly. Yeah, it was hard. Also, being in hospital, there are some nurses that dismiss you, and I understand they're so busy. I get it, you're overworked, but also like my life's on the line, and to not feel comforted when you're struggling so severely can be quite heartbreaking. So I always just want to get out of there, except for when I see my doctors and they take good care of me. Like the hematologists, they're on it.
Yeah, because they have, do you think they have a better
They
understanding?
they have the best understanding. So they know that like my pain isn't fake, or that I'm not being dramatic, or just because
so nurses believe like you're just lying about it, like faking
So
it.
they don't say it, but the way they act gives you that impression. It's just a bit frustrating, especially since you don't have the ability to fight for yourself when you're in such a vulnerable state.
And you shouldn't have to be fighting.
You shouldn't have to
with the
be
people that are meant to be taking
care of you. Exactly.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time, I'm glad that my mum would be there, or my boyfriend would be there, or my brothers would be there, because they're able to be like, hello, she's been waiting for her medicine for the last 3 hours and nobody's given it to her. So yeah, it's been a whirlwind of a time being in hospital, and I'm glad I'm out, and I pray I stay out for a long time now, but...
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
There are many different ways a crisis can be triggered. The most common being dehydration, extreme temperatures, and stress.
Like when I was grieving the loss of my father, I was having a crisis every 3 weeks that year. Like he passed 2021 January, and the whole year I was in and out of hospital because of grief. It can cause thoughts of just, how do I get through the next day? And you're just like, do I even want to be here? And it's just like so upsetting. I also really do want children. So like that is something I tend to worry about. They say with sickle cell, it's a high risk pregnancy because like even a girl I know, she's had a child, but during labor, she went into crisis. And just like, imagine both of those things happening. And so it's so hard to look at people and not be like, okay, well, if that's your story, that's gonna be mine. Because then you can look at somebody else with sickle cell and they had a perfect pregnancy, but you just tend to always compare yourself to the worst scenario.
After speaking with Miriam, I realised there is a mental and emotional turmoil people with sickle cell go through their entire lives. I can only imagine how difficult it would be if Miriam didn't have a supportive network around her. Nikki, a writer and actor, has come to share her story on the difficulties she's faced balancing her family's religious views and her reality of having a chronic illness.
And I think it was when I was in my 20s, and when I say I needed a moment. I needed a moment, because it just hit me. And it was actually when I was having a crisis. I don't want to get emotional. I was having a crisis and I was waiting for an ambulance. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, I have to do this forever. And when I was younger, I used to say, sickle cell doesn't affect me. It only affects me when I'm sick, which I had to unlearn. And like, I used to say it only affects me when I was in hospital, which meant I wasn't giving myself grace when I was ill outside of hospital. And it was so, I would say, it was very damaging because, yeah, I didn't give myself grace. I feel like we gave me tissue.
Yeah, thank you. Take a minute, you okay? You're saying how it was damaging, that mindset that you had.
Yeah, it was a quite unique situation in my family. And especially being from a religious Christian background, it was just like, you pray.
Really? That was it?
You pray and you have faith and it will go. And this is the last crisis.
So when obviously eventually it's not going,
No, I had
they
to
still
just
have that
leave me alone.
mindset.
I remember the time I was in hospital and it was just one of those years where I was just in and out of hospital. And I remember I was like, just over everything. And I was honestly at the end of my tail and I was just like, and I think it was like summers where imagine all your friends were out and you're just like in a hospital and just like, let me out of here. And then one of my aunts was just like, this is the last time. And I was just like, but what if it's not? Like, what if I'm back here next week? And it's just like, and then you're not allowed to kind of vent because then you'll be negative. Then it's kind of like the ownership of your health is placed on you. It's like, you're in this condition because you don't have enough faith and you're not believing enough and you're not praying. And I've heard this girl in a village and she prayed and she went fasting and prayer and she went to the mountains and touched Jesus' feet himself, you know, and all of that kind of stuff. And it's just, it was really unhealthy and not realistic. And it just wasn't, because I remember there was days where I honestly, younger me felt like I wasn't praying enough because I was also like so overly ambitious. And I feel like that was also kind of like a way of distracting myself from my reality. And I was just like, if I'm really smart, if I'm really good at this, and if I'm like always reliable, or like if I'm the good friend, the good sister, the good daughter, the reliable one, it's just like, oh, then, and because I used to always kind of see my health as an inconvenience to other people. And I was just like, oh, I'm stressing my mum, stressing my family, all of this kind of stuff. But I was never thinking about myself. So I never sat down to really sit with myself and be like, oh my gosh, you really have this condition. Younger me had so much fear, so many fears. And I think I just existed in fear. And present me just doesn't.
So you honestly don't have any fear about your sickle cell for your future, if that makes sense, like how it may affect?
No.
That's good.
But obviously you have, especially kind of when you hear bad news, but it's not something that consumes me because no one knows what the future holds.
Nikki's experience opens up the conversation of culture sometimes being a barrier for empathy and understanding within families. I wonder how many people face the same challenge behind closed doors. I was kindly put in contact with Alvin, an actor that recently starred in Supercell, a sickle cell-inspired Netflix series created by Ratman. I'm interested to hear about his personal journey with having sickle cell and how he's navigated the disease from childhood to adulthood.
When I was younger, although I knew I had sickle cell, I didn't know the severity of it. I just knew that not a lot of people make it past a certain age. I wasn't meant to make it past a certain age.
What age was that?
I believe at the time it was like between 16 and 18 or 20. That's all I remember. Yeah, that's what I remember being told at the time. I wasn't alone because I had obviously my family, my parents, but I wasn't alone because I don't feel like anyone ever understood it. So there's small things that I remember like growing up with, like even like with jaundicedness, like in the eyes and stuff. I remember like there were some of the kids that would like bully me based on the fact that my eyes were a bit yellowy. Yeah, so like that would make me insecure from quite young. So then I think like those are where the mental battles came in.
23% of men said their health is one of the biggest causes of mental health issues. Earlier you said how sickle cell has had an impact maybe on your manhood and how people view you and how you may deal with pain. yeah, I just wanted to delve deeper in that.
Yeah.
Do you think it has affected that?
I didn't really mention it. I didn't know how to again. I guess you just don't really want to speak about it. You don't want people to view it in a certain way, especially when not a lot of people know enough information about it. So that was a case. Then I think I started speaking about it, which was alright, because obviously then people, like, it gives them opportunity to kind of understand to the degree you understand it. Yeah. But I guess I would tell them, but still not be vulnerable with it.
Okay, yeah.
So you're able to just tell them and be like, oh yeah, but I got sickle cell, but yeah, I'm calm.
But why?
Why is a good question. I guess that's that thing. It's a bit of pride, isn't it?
Pride.
Yeah, it's a bit of pride. It's a bit of you don't want no one to feel sorry for you. You probably also don't, like, I think there was times where you don't want someone to leave you because of this thing, or like to stop talking to you because of that thing.
And how did that make you feel?
I guess it just makes you a bit more reserved in regards of like how you tell people that you have sickle cell, or who you tell. You kind of wait for them to be a bit more vulnerable before you can open up. I think as I was getting older, it got to a point where it's like I didn't really care. I was just like, do you know, if you don't accept me for who I am or what I want, then you're not probably someone I want in my life anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think it gets to that point where it's like you actually have to think to yourself like, no, you don't want a person who you have to hide all these parts about you. You actually want someone who you can like tell everything to and show them all these sides of you and parts of you, and they won't like use it against you, or they can help you understand, or they allow you to like heal in your own little way. Being on Supercell actually was really dope as well.
You just dropped that in.
Yeah, sure. But it's like, yeah.
How did it feel getting the call that you got the role in Supercell, having sickle cell yourself?
Yeah. My agent called me, which was like, I think 2 weeks before my birthday. He just called me. He was like, hey, Alvin, I don't know if you remember taping for Supercell, but you've got the role. And I was just like, whoa. Yeah, I was like, wow, I've got sickle cell and I'm in Supercell. And it's just like, it's kind of dope, because it's like, I mean, I don't believe that I got the role because I got sickle cell. I believe I got it based on my talent. And I just believe that the fact I have it was just a coincidence, and it was a beautiful coincidence to that.
It's inspiring to see that Alvin has not let sickle cell hold him back. I hope his story will encourage others to not limit themselves because of their health. Halfway through filming the documentary, a shocking bombshell was dropped. A groundbreaking sickle cell gene therapy called exa-cel was announced. Exa-cel will stop sickled blood cells from blocking blood vessels. Experts are calling it a functional cure. It feels like this treatment is straight out of Supercell, and I don't think I'm alone on this. People on social seem split on whether the cure will help or cause even more harm. I have a meeting with Anthony Okereke, the lead Labour and Co-op councillor for Woolwich Common, who not only has sickle cell, but advocates for it as well. I'm eager to hear his opinions on exa-cel. The cure's out. The cure, they say. What are your thoughts on that? Because there's been a lot of different opinions online.
Quite frankly, I haven't fully engaged with it. When I go and meet my consultants and we discuss my treatment, that's when I'll engage with it.
But would you consider taking the cure?
It really depends, you know, and there's a real, I don't know. Since 2016, I have found I've been in a place of stability. Prior to that, I was in hospital 2 to 3 times in a month. Getting exchange blood transfusions has meant that I've had more stability than I'm usual. Still have issues, but more stability than usual. And it's allowed me to be able to do this wonderful work that I do here. It's allowed me to, you know, invest in my residents that I really care about, invest in the things that I really care about. And I think there is a little bit of a nervousness about transitioning onto a different treatment period and what that means for me, and what the implications of that will be. And I think that, for me, has to be well understood, especially when there are such demands on me at this current day and time.
Okay.
So yeah, which sounds kind of sad.
But it sounds very human.
It is, yeah.
Do you feel like you feel maybe a sense of responsibility in advocating for sickle cell because of the position that you're in, being a counsellor?
Yeah, to some extent. I think I feel a responsibility of advocating for blood donations and the awareness around sickle cell disorder. I definitely feel that there's a lot to be demystified, and I think by embodying and taking up my journey and just being really clear and transparent with it, I can help people understand what it's like to live with sickle cell, what the myths are.
What are the myths? Tell us.
Well, what the truths are. Well, I remember a myth of, oh, you're not capable. You know, that was a real myth that, you know, a stumbling block that I came up against when I wanted to get into politics. Are you sure you're capable? Will you be able to manage? Won't it be tough on you? Will it be hard for you? Right?
And that probably aggravated you.
Yeah,
Am capable?
these are questions that should be asked to everyone, right? Not just because I have sickle cell.
Having spoken to Anthony and seeing the discourse online, it's clear that people are cautious about taking the cure, and having blood transfusions seems like a stable option for many. Brixton, also known as Little Jamaica, is the heart of Afro-Caribbean culture in the UK. A place once notorious for gang violence is now home to a place that helps save lives. The Brixton Blood Donation Centre. With blood donations scarce, especially from people of African and Caribbean descent, the NHS hopes London's newest blood donation centre will get people donating. So right now I'm in the Brixton Donation Centre, and yeah, I'm about to donate blood for the first time. Yeah, I think I'm feeling a bit nervous because I don't really like blood. I don't like looking at blood. It makes me feel a bit weird, and I know that can put people off if they're scared of needles. I'm pushing through it, so I know others can as well.
Sickle cell affects people in different ways. Like if you know someone that has sickle cell, get to know that person.
Not everyone wants to speak about it, so let them be as well.
Don't define me by my illness. I have so much to offer the world. I have so much that I want to do. I have so many aspirations.
Remind your friends, remind your family members that have sickle cell that they're not a burden. They never will be a burden.
When I started this documentary, I thought I'm gonna make this documentary and I'm gonna spread awareness about sickle cell and that's it. And then I realized on going on this journey and speaking to everyone that I've met, it just wasn't enough. I had to do more. And that's why I decided to donate blood. Because I know if no one watches this documentary, that I've still helped someone with sickle cell by donating. People with sickle cell are not limited. They're so much more than their illness.